Welcome to the last Chelsea FanCast of the season, fueled by Guinness, powered by celery, and I am, of course, Stamford Chidge, and the name of the show tonight is Moises from the halfway line. Moises from the halfway line. Everybody perfectly out of sync. It's a fucking shambles. It's a shambles. Shambles.
It is
shambles.
It was a shambles.
Yeah. The title of the night's show is Moises from the Halfway Line, Chelsea Fancast number 1138. And I am joined by my benefactor, my mentor, my partner in crime, the magnanimous person. I sat next to JK yesterday and enjoyed his hospitality. Thank you very much, my friend. It was great fun.
It was good fun having you there. Very good. And we indeed sang, both of us, together.
We did. Thiago Silva.
And Thiago. I didn't do that much because that was sort of incessant, wasn't it? That was just non-stop. I mean, rightly so. And I'm afraid I got a bit moist along with everybody else.
Were you moist from the halfway line?
Moist from the. I think he was on. He was moist from the halfway line, wasn't he? He seemed.
You were moist from the halfway line. What else were you singing? What else were you singing then?
Brushing tears away. I think I sang a brief from a couple of verses of 1, 2, 3, 4 in the middle of a song. Where do they go? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, we are the Chelsea boys. Wait for it. No, there's something else. But yeah, I did a couple of those.
Malagusto.
Malagusto, yeah. Hello, Malagusto. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, Malagusto. Yeah, which is reasonable enough. I just wish there were more songs for the players. That's always my gripe, as you know. I just wish we could. I mean, even if they do grab them from other people, I would so love the Reece James song to be "There is nothing like Reece James, nothing in the world." It will never happen, unfortunately.
There is nothing as petulant as Reece James. I'm still cross about it.
Reece James, there's nothing as filthy as Reece James. There's nothing as bit of a mug like Reece James getting sent off. What a dick! Nothing in the world. But yes, it was a joyous goal. My goodness me, what skill that was, and almost one goal of the season on Match of the Day.
Did it really?
Yeah, they added it. They had 8 chosen, and they added it as a 9th. Yeah, at the last minute, and then it got down to the last 3, which were then decided by Ian Wright and Alan Shearer, and they chose Garnacho's overhead kick, which was a beast of a goal. But and I think it would have obviously been goal of the month when it had been on, and perhaps people would have had more of an opportunity to savor its brilliance, and he might then have won it. But my goodness me, what a great goal it was! And you needed that because we were playing as ineptly up front as we had been for most of the season. So.
You're going to introduce our special luminary for tonight.
I don't need to introduce him. He's there. Look at him. There's Mark. It's Mark Meehan.
Doesn't mean you get away with it.
No, but I don't need to anymore, Chidge, do I? Because it's him there, isn't it? Look, there he is. The great, the fantastic, the brain of Stamford Bridge. It's him. Him there.
Well,
with
and you know, fan advisory board member and
the trust. Yeah,
chairman. Shut up, chairman of the
Chelsea. Said it. Always trust chairman.
When you talk and I talk, nobody gets heard because we cancel each
other out. No, I agree.
I'll just fucking mute you. Right. Chelsea supporters trust chairman, no less. And guess what, JK?
Huge cheese.
No, more than that. He's written a book. He's written a book.
No.
He has. He's written a book. Did you know that?
I never knew that. No, bloody hell. What is it?
I don't know, but I've got it down here somewhere. I can't remember the title.
Come on! I've told you enough times.
From Wembley. I don't know. What is it? From Stamford Bridge to Wembley or something?
You're failing the exam question. Yeah.
Blue tomorrow. I didn't have to cheat much.
You needn't have said it. You needn't have said because we can't see. You could have just gone.
I know, but I can't lie, can I? But there you go, Mark. Lovely! I saw you a few times yesterday. It was lovely to see you. You're on crack. Everybody was on cracking form, weren't they?
No, lovely to see you too. Absolutely marvellous post-game drink. Firstly, in the Atlas. With your good self, so thanks very much. We haven't had many chances this season because we're always rushing around doing things, post and pre-match. So it was nice just to relax at the end of the season, have a drink with with a remarkable number of brilliant Chelsea people. And I think I'll mention as many as I can, and apologies if I forget you and you're listening in tonight. But yeah, we had Richard Schaller, we had Terry, we had Mark Willett, we had Nathan, we had Pedro, we had Ben. Before the game, saw Phil Spector. We had Bex and the absolutely wonderful Walter Otten. I think it's only the second game this season he's been up for. I think the last time I saw him was Brighton away last season. So it was absolutely brilliant to see Walter and spend time in his company last night. Martin Wickham was there. Debs Cody was there. Julie and her sister were both there. And
Bushers!
And Bushers was there as well. Absolutely, yeah, Bushers was there.
Bushers went up to Jonathan before the game and said, "Tell Chidge you saw the Bushman." And Jonathan was like, "Who the fuck is this?" And I said, "It's Bushers, mate. It's you know Bushers. He used to play bass in Madness." He's
Madness. He's been a bass guitarist.
I said, "Mate," I said, "You, me, and Bushers sat together in the inaugural." Not even an official meeting of the Chelsea Sports Trust. This is before the thing had got going. We had a meeting in the Barrow Boy in North End Road to see what people thought about what was going on. You, me, and Bush sat together, and Jonathan's going, "Oh, really? Okay." Yes.
No, so it was very, very good post-match libation. I'm absolutely shocked to hear they were singing in the East Middle tier yesterday.
Well, that's because I was there, mate. It's because I was there.
I was about to say there's an unruly element that somehow infiltrated the East Middle stand with rogue T-shirts on and singing songs. My word, they'll be starting riots if we sell Conor Gallagher next. Outrageous behaviour. Yeah.
I didn't drop any Fs or Cs yesterday. I was actually quite well behaved, wasn't I, JK?
I think there was one F.
Was there?
Yeah.
What prompted that? Do you remember?
It's got to be Anthony Taylor.
Yes, I think it was actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but if I'd have been sitting where I normally sit, I'd be going, Taylor, you're a Gareth. Taylor, you're a Gareth.
Yeah.
But there you go. No, I was quite well.
I think, you inadvertently squirted one out, as it were. You couldn't help yourself.
Ooh, misses.
Ooh.
All right, enough with that already. People already know that I'm a badly behaved person in football, but I thought I was quite well behaved, actually, all things considered.
You were very well behaved. You were very good.
I was.
As you said, we sang a couple of songs. It's because everybody had a kind of, I think people started singing a bit of "Don't Worry About a Thing" as well. They all like that. They feel they feel that that's an innocuous song you're allowed to get away with in the East Stand Middle.
Yeah.
But for bizarre reason, and it's just not a Chelsea song, they keep playing Gala "Free from Desire."
Oh, it's so championship, isn't it? It's amateur hour, mate.
It's like sorry for Wigan Athletic fans. It's a Wigan Athletic song. It's Wigan song.
Mate.
It's Wigan song because of Will Grigg. Come on, we're better than that. We're Chelsea. Come on.
Yeah, well, I mean, who makes the choices for the music? For fuck's sake. And why the drum and bass version? Why the drum and bass version of Bob Marley?
I don't mind that. To be honest. Yeah, that's a Chelsea song now. But I still don't. I've just been a boring old fart. I just don't like Gala Free from Desire. I just don't.
Do you know what?
Chelsea connection. Yeah.
Football. It's not for old people. Right now, the Chelsea FanCast is definitely for old people because it's full of old people. I can't speak for the listener, but I won't even try. But anyway, look, as you know,
we're all young at heart, Chidge.
Yeah, I know we are. I mean, it would be quite interesting to add up the average age. I was having this chat with somebody in the pub yesterday about. I was showing them the new T-shirt we got coming out with the whole team on it. And he was saying, mate, it's like you're a team of Thiago Silvas. I said, well, no, actually, because Martin and Dean certainly bring the age level down a little bit, and Alex, I think,
and Dane, yeah.
No, Dane's in his 40s, mate. So is Dad.
That's fine. That's still younger than us.
Young compared to us, isn't it?
That brings the average age of the squad down considerably. Yeah,
I remember the days when most of the team were like in their late teens or early 20s. I mean, seriously,
But that was a very long time ago.
Yeah, I know it was, but there you go. They're all old now as well. Anyway, listen, as ever, don't forget you can watch the show live on our YouTube channel and Facebook page, and listen to the show live every Monday and Friday at 7:30 p.m. by going to Mixlr, which is chelsea-fancast.mixlr.com. And the beautiful thing about that is, apart from listening to us waffle on and giving you drivel and pointless analysis before and after games, you can join in. You can join in the chat facilities that all of these Medium and Medii, whatever, have. Now, if you can't, or if you, well, if you can't catch us there, you can always get the podcast afterwards, because we do always, this is first, last, and always a podcast, this show. It's what it's always been about. And you can get that, listen and subscribe on Acast, Spotify, Apple, and all good podcast platforms. And make sure you leave us a glowing 5-star review. And you can follow us on all the socials at Chelsea Fancast. It's all very simple. Now, there are some very lovely, generous benefactors out there who actually are the unsung heroes of the Chelsea Fancast, because, they've been following us for a long time, and they lend their support literally by bunging us a few quid every month by signing up to our Patreon account. And, they really are, the unheralded heroes, because unlike most people who have Patreon sites, we do fuck all on ours. There's no extra content. There's nothing, no interaction, no nothing. It's just basically a fucking grift. So fair play. I love you for that. Actually, it's not a complete grift. You do get, as the lovely Londoners Blue Boys would say, an exclusive welcome gift. An exclusive welcome gift of a Kerry Dixon banner, like the
mini banner.
Mini banner.
Signed Kerry Dixon.
Oh yeah, well, they aren't at the moment.
Mini banner.
Yeah, I need to get him to sign a few more. But anyway, yeah, you get a mini Kerry Dixon banner, and also you get to join exclusively our Discord group, because I'll send you a link, and that's great fun, because that's like Mixlr and all of this stuff every day, and there's some lovely people in there who we've luckily I met a few yesterday actually, which is quite nice. So there we go. And of course, you may have noticed Mark is actually modelling one now. Can you give us a 12, Mark? Thank you very much. There you go. It's if they sell Connor, we riot. Yeah, beautifully modelled by Miss Mark Meehan there. Now, if you want one of these T-shirts, it's very simple. There you go. I'll show you another image, shall I, on the screen. There we go. Better model on the show tonight than the one that's in that photograph, clearly. Now, there were loads out in force yesterday. We should do a little montage. I should have done a montage tonight, shouldn't I, for the show? What a dick. I've completely forgot to do that. Because so many of us were out in force wearing our Connor T-shirts. I was, Mark was, Richard was, Gary Hayes was,
Marco,
JK was, Mark Worrell
was, yeah.
Yeah, loads of us were out there wearing the T-shirts. We're all out. Mark Willett was as well. Loads of us wearing them. It was good to see. So if you want to join the fun, because this is fun, there was some miserable old scrote with a complete sense of humour bypass who says that we're very immature. Yeah, we are. Like we are. Yeah. So there we go. Apparently we're inciting. Huh?
Where were they? Were they in the East Stand?
I know that it was on Twitter.
Oh God.
Yeah. Exactly.
Apparently they think we actually are going to riot.
Well, it's a British sense of humour. It's kind of ironic.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whatever. They don't do. I don't know this bloke was American, but if he was, then they don't do irony. Anyway, show your support for Conor Gallagher with our Connor T-shirt and mugs. Here are the mugs. If you don't believe me, boom. There we go. We have mugs. You can have a white one or a blue one. So there you go. It's all up to you. But anyway, yeah, if you want to show your support for Connor, get a T-shirt or a mug. They have the legendary statement, if they sell Connor, we riot. And we do all sizes, men's and women's. The way to do that really is basically email the Chelsea Special at gmail.com. I have information there at the bottom of the screen. Boom, it's magic. We've got the technology. It's wonderful. Yeah, email the Chelsea Special at gmail.com. Let me know the size that you are and your address, and I will forward the information on to Tim, who will get them all dispatched to you. They're 25 quid for the T-shirts in the UK, including postage and packing. 28 quid in Europe, 30 quid in North America. The mugs are 15 quid, 18 quid, and 20 quid. So there we go. It's jolly lovely, and I commend it to you. They'll be, hopefully, I mean, if I was you, right, given what we hear, I'd get on this quick, because it might be too late. And then, then you'll be regretting it. Actually, talking T-shirts, I'm wearing the latest, there we go. Can you see it? The latest one by the legend that is Richard. There you go. Lovely little picture of me and JK and holding up a pint of Guinness with celery. Did you like that one, JK?
Love it. Love
you
it.
Do. I've got one for you here. He gave me one. He gave me one. Gave me a one for you last night as well.
his largesse is magnificent. Thank you. I'd love.
I know. I wish I'd ordered. I wish I'd ordered extra large. Yes.
Oh, clever, Chidge. Whoa, bloody hell, clever. Very funny. Good, very good, wasn't it, Mark? That's funny.
It was. Very good.
You remember when Jeffrey Howe said about Margaret Thatcher? It was like being, kind of hit with a dead lamb or something. It's a bit like JK being like, damned with praise.
Yeah. I didn't laugh out loud with it. I just went, "Oh, clever, Chidge, clever. Yeah, good. I like that. Yeah." I'm not. I meant to.
You're such a Gareth, mate. Honestly.
He is being sincere. He's not taking the piss.
I liked it. I didn't laugh. That was all. I liked it. That was good. Oh, large. Yes, yeah, good. It's not. No, it's not an performance. It's not a is it?
No, it's not. It's not Pochettino levels, is it?
Yeah. Pochettino's idiocy. Yeah.
Anyway, look, we got these coming out, okay, with me and JK, which we like. We've got a rather cheeky one aimed at Clear Lake, which I'm waiting for the right moment to release on you all. But my favourite one is like the lineup. I do my lineups on the preview show. Well, we've got the definitive Chelsea FanCast lineup, which is there happens to be 11 of us that do the FanCast quite conveniently. And Richard, like you see these little caricatures that he's done here. He's done a little one of us for each, all in a blue kit, obviously, as players in a 4-3-3 formation. So there we go. So they're going to be great fun. So look out for those over the summer. Right, what else have I got to plug? Have I done the plugs now? Is that it? I think it is. Thank God for that. You all say right after this, we'll actually be talking about the bloody football. Oh yes. Yes, indeed. Now, very quickly before we start, Clayton asked me to give a shout out to long-time listener Steve Martin. We did mention Madness earlier on, and I know Steve has connections, so he works in the music biz. Because I know he listens all the time. He's a great bloke, and I think Clayton went to some kind of quite exclusive preview that they did in a record store in Kingston or something. I don't know, but anyway, I know Steve helped him out. So there we go, Steve.
Banquet Records do regular gigs in Prism in Kingston. So Madness were playing there a few weeks back. Yeah.
There you go. Well, there we go. So cheers, Steve. Lovely to hear from you via Clayton, as it were. Right. Okay. Last match of the season. It was quite interesting. I mean, we've got to start with that Moises goal, haven't we, JK? I mean, it's quite. I mean, it was wonderful because it kind of happened in slow motion. I mean, I had such a great view of it because I'm sitting with you and you are on the halfway line, and we just watch it sail in. And we've seen it a few times. Naeem from the halfway line when Seaman did all that. Oh, that was somebody else, wasn't it? Anyway, Cundy from the halfway line against Ipswich for Spurs, wasn't it? Beckham against Wimbledon, famously. So it's weird, isn't it? You remember the goals. Oh, Rooney did it, didn't he, as well?
Yeah.
So you remember the goal. I mean, you know me, I can't remember what happened. I mean, I struggle to remember what happened on Sunday. But you remember these goals that scored from the halfway line. And I was just like so happy to have been at the bridge to witness one of our own score one from the halfway line. But it was a lovely goal, wasn't it? What a first goal as well.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And also down to the original pass through. I can't remember who played that, but it was then the fact that the goalkeeper then attempted to kick it out again, and Connor drove in like a madman and almost tackled him, and it dribbled out to Caicedo on the halfway, just beyond the halfway line, who steadied himself, saw that the goalkeeper was miles outside his area, still getting up, and had a go. And it faded slightly. What I loved about it was the fact that it was then played over and over on the screens, and everybody cheered every single time it was played. It was brilliant. It was a completely brilliant goal. And as I said earlier, we were displaying the traits that we'd had earlier on in the season of not being able to hit a cow's arse with a banjo. So it was good for the goal to go in. I mean, intriguingly, there were several players who seemed to be a bit below par yesterday, and Cole Palmer in particular, who looked knackered from the very beginning. I don't know whether it's all caught up with him, and he had a bandage on his thigh as well. But Cucurella played with immense energy. I got told off with the fan bite by saying that he was unbelievably improved because somebody said he still can't defend. I mean, all right, their goal was possibly down to his error, but I think there's such an improvement from him. You've got to give him credit. You really have.
You have. I particularly like the fact that for Moises' goal, Sterling pussied out of the goalkeeper's challenge, which meant the goalkeeper kind of pushed the ball out
for the first time.
Connor went in 100% commitment, and got hurt, and the ball ricocheted off the goalkeeper. I just thought that was it was almost like a tale of two players, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. Interesting.
Commitment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. But he's done that all season, hasn't he? Unfortunately,
pussied out.
He pussies out of those situations. And
do you know what? My best mate, right? He's a Southampton fan. He was watching the game clearly because he texted. He just reminded me. There you go. My best mate, Simon Kane. You won't be listening. He's a brilliant bloke. And I'm going up to the cricket. Well, you've met him actually at the cricket.
I have. Yeah.
Right. Sterling pussied out of that challenge. He said that was at 19 minutes past 4. So he was clearly watching the game. And I said he always does because he's a pussy, in it, blood clot.
What did you call it? Blood clot.
Blood clot. That's how me and Simon speak to each other. Don't ask. Anyway, yeah. So, Mark, I mean, what do you think of Moises' goal?
Superb first goal for Chelsea, and I think anyone there was just lucky to see it. And I agree 100% with JK that the even better part about it was they kept playing it in slow motion afterwards on the big screen. And each time, I can't remember the last time a Chelsea goal has been played so many times. And each time they played it, the cheer got louder and louder. He will be the new Alex now, because for literally the rest of the game, then anytime he got the ball,
everyone shout and shoot.
Everyone's just shout and shoot. It's just, but to be fair, he has got better and better and better in this latter part of the season. Maybe that's coincidental that Fernandes is not there, but in the last sort of 5 or 6 games, he has been immense. We'll probably talk later about substitutions. I don't know if he was injured or not.
I think he might have had a knock, mate. Because
that's what I'm thinking. I don't know if he's injured or not, because the way he was playing, I would have been very surprised at that substitution unless he picked up a knock, because he was playing again so well yesterday. Him and Gallagher together, it's a really, really good partnership.
Well, you know what? I mean, there's so many points in this. I mean, we've been saying on the show a lot. I've certainly been saying on the show a lot that the most disappointing thing for most of this season was how regularly we were getting bullied in midfield. And I've always been a great believer in the fact that you actually win games by winning the battle in midfield. You know, if the opposition is going to dominate your midfield, then they're solid at the back, and they're going to be creating more than you. So you need to win the midfield. And I was just so upset seeing us getting bullied, pushed off the ball, losing 50-50s, not getting to them first, giving the ball away, losing it under pressure. Caicedo particularly was always losing the ball under pressure. You know, you could not pass to him because somebody would on him and he'd lose the ball. So it's so lovely to see that turn around. Now, I don't know if it's because Enzo's not been playing or not, but certainly Gallagher and Moises playing together look like a proper Moises. We sang that in the East Upper. They didn't know what East Middle, whatever it was. They didn't know what we were going. Moises, get out of there, Moises. They were like looking at us like we were fucking idiots, mate.
I was led like a little child by you, Chidge, when you did that. I have to say, you said Moises, and I went, Moises. And I was looking, thinking, they think we're a couple of dicks, don't they?
The account manager will be dropping you a letter, JK. Mr. Kydd, we've noticed some irregular behaviour from one of your guests in the
Never
last
bring
home
him
game
back
of this
again,
season.
ever.
You cannot bring him back in future.
Yeah, well,
next season.
you notice, Mark, that the only time I've sat with JK in the East Upper this season is the last game of the season. Any coincidence? I think not. He
Keeping
couldn't
the
risk
best for
taking me
last.
earlier. He couldn't risk taking me earlier, could he?
I was
You know?
hedging the bets. You know, it was
Anyway, look, they are not getting bullied in midfield anymore. They're not losing possession. They're winning the midfield battles, and I think it's fantastic. But the other thing, just to pick up from what both of you have said, it's really lovely to have seen recently quite a few of these players that we were absolutely eviscerating, and deservedly so, because they were shit. They've all stepped up. Moises is absolutely one. Badia Shield, bless his heart, he's played better in the last few weeks. Madueke, the super inverted poodle. We absolutely, JK and I were saying it last night, weren't we? We absolutely love him to bits at the moment.
Yeah. He's terrier-like, and it's his energy. He seems to keep going for so long. He's also a filthy bastard, you know.
Yeah.
He really
bastard. Bastard.
He's a bastard. He kicks everybody. He does, and also it also falls over exaggeratedly. He really does. I think he did a continental six twist on one occasion. I thought, bloody hell, how many are you going to get out of that? How many rolls are you getting from that?
He was trying to recurl his hair, mate.
Yeah, it must be must be associated with his hair. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Where I sit, that booking in the first half from Taylor, I thought he was unfairly booked. Yeah, because I can't remember the Bournemouth player. I'll have a look at the lineups. What's his name? Oh, Semenyo. He went through Cucurella. He took him out. Yeah, and
he went
Cucurella
for everybody, mate, didn't he?
Well, yeah, true. He went for everybody. He went through Cucurella, and obviously Cucurella went down. Yeah, and obviously he kicked the ball. I think kicked the ball away in retaliation, and Taylor booked. But I thought that was really hard. But that actually worked as well, because it wound up Cucurella. Not that he needs winding up the way he's playing at the moment. So he was wound up for the rest of the game, and obviously, the crowd then start chanting his name, and he does respond to that, because there hasn't been many until recent weeks Estrellas and eating paellas. Not that I'm sure he drinks either Estrella or eats paella, but clearly it rhymes.
I'd like to see him try and eat an Estrella and drink a paella. That would be something.
That would be very, very, very entertaining. So in the latter part of the season, again, I think you've got to credit Pochettino at that tweak of the side, that slight change, with Cucurella. And we just look at a completely different side. And as much as the manager at times has got criticism, when things go right, you have to say, well done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it was interesting, isn't it? Because we were saying on Friday, JK, that Sterling would start in the absence of Mudryk, and of course he did. And he was quite bright, first half. He scored a goal, which is what you want your players to do. I now understand that it was definitely a penalty, and Taylor screwed us with that one. Semenyo did because we were saying, weren't we? I remember when we watched it, JK, live, or we turned around to each other live. We said, I said, nah, it's not penalty, mate. Nah. Anyway, and then we saw the replay. Nah. Anyway, apparently on Ref Watch on Sky, they were saying, why on earth didn't Taylor give a penalty there? It was a clear penalty. So, hey.
If you remember, I said he's too far away, as always. He's seeing it from a different angle, and VAR has gone with him on the pitch, as is always the case, because he is a big cheese, and they don't want to go against his original decision because of his cheesiness. He is one of the top referees supposedly in the biz, and he's now he's been accepted abroad. He does big major matches in Europe as well. So whether you like it or not, his status is immense. If he makes a decision on the pitch, he doesn't want some dick in VAR telling him he's wrong, because his ego doesn't have that. He's too good. He is saying, I didn't see that, therefore I'm right, rather than working with the technology. It's always the fucking same.
Yeah, he's an
worryingly, he's going to the Euros, isn't it? I actually thought he was nearer to it, JK, yes, but you're absolutely right. I thought he was nearer to it, and he dismissed it really quickly. But the more remarkable thing, you're spot on, how quickly VAR backed him up. I don't know if there's a VAR time clock, and I know people have complained how long VAR has taken this season. that was probably one of the quickest VAR decisions of the season. Yeah, they're sitting there going, "Oh, it's Anthony Taylor. No, we can't undermine him. Definitely no penalty."
Absolutely.
It was within seconds that decision came up on the VAR screen.
Yeah,
they have to have the courage of their convictions. You have to have somebody in the box who doesn't care that it's Anthony Taylor, who is there to make decisions that aid the justice of the game, the integrity of the game, what is happening, rather than going with the whim of an egomaniac, which is what it is now.
Yeah,
more like the quim of an egomaniac.
No, it's a massive failure on VAR, that one. And it is interesting because obviously over the weekend, I don't know if you've seen, like, the Football Supporters Association, on the back of what Wolves have actually put out, they did a poll. And now I know the poll is on Twitter and it's not less a reflection of true football supporters thinking. But I think there was like an 80% response on their Twitter poll that people would actually get rid of VAR, and obviously in its current format. Now, all Premier League clubs will get to vote on this. And I think Henry Winter's right. I don't think it would do any harm for football clubs to ask the people that go along every week, the supporters, what their view on VAR is. You're voting without getting the people's viewpoint. You'll actually suffer from this every single week.
Well, indeed. I mean, this is highly unusual because Ollie Holt wrote something actually intelligible and right for once. He's usually beyond awful. And John Gordon very helpfully. By the way, sorry I didn't see you yesterday, John, up in my usual spot in Gate 17, but I was with JK. And the young Phil Spector had my ticket. He did very well. Right. Ollie Holt, I'm just trying to whiz down and he articulated it absolutely.
Shall I find it?
Yeah. No, I've got it. He got it.
You got it. Okay.
Yeah, that is the single best moment in a football match, and that moment is being steadily erased. That's not the bit. It's not the bit. But I mean, basically, he's saying, exactly what we've been saying for bloody ages is the whole point. The whole point of going to football, of going to a football match, is for the moment when your team scores a goal and you lose your shit and you hug the person next to you, give them a kiss, and you just lose your. There we go. Is that it? It doesn't matter. I mean, you get the essence of it. The bottom line is he gets it. That's what we go to football for. We go to football to see our team score a goal and go crazy when that happens. It's sheer emotion. It's a release. And VAR has killed it. It's denying it. You can no longer do that because you're sitting there waiting. Is there going to be a VAR? They have got to get rid of it. It has got to go. And he was saying, we all wanted it because we were fed up with really poor decisions. And now we've got it. We realize it hasn't made any difference. We still get poor decisions. So why lose the one thing we love going to football for when you're still going to get imperfect decisions? Maybe we just accept that when you've got human beings involved, you're going to get poor decisions. It's part of the game. It's about imperfection. Sorry, JK. It's about imperfection. You can't, So, and I'm kind of with him. I fuck it, I want that back. I want to go to a football match, celebrate madly when a goal's gone in, providing it's not obviously offside, and enjoy that experience. I don't want to be sat there waiting for some prick, overanalyzing it in Stockley Park and then ruining and taking away my joy. It's not why I go. And I think many, 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 many thousands of football supporters feel the same, don't they, Mark? Here's a question for you. Do you think, because basically the clubs have got to vote on this, haven't they? Do you think that they'll vote in favour of getting rid of it, or will they keep it on?
I think they'll keep it on.
Fucking wankers.
I don't think the Wolves vote will succeed. I think you'll find, is it 14-6 in the Premier League to get a majority viewpoint? No.
Oh man, it's just well, of course, if the supporters don't want it, of course they're not going to vote our way. They never would. Anyway,
if they keep it, there has to be a hell of a lot of improvement to it, because the people making the decisions are the people at Stockley Park, and that was never the intention of VAR. It was to be an aid to the referee. Now they are refereeing the game.
They won't improve it. They won't improve
but they're not,
it.
But that's my point. If they're going to,
because they're still going to be involved.
No, well, they have to find a way to improve it then. Either you take them out of the equation, you get ex-professional footballers in there instead. You become an independent person.
Yes.
You are not. Yeah. If you've got referees in Stockley Park and referees on the pitch, it's a club. They are not going to undermine each other, because do you know what? If I'm Anthony Taylor and Jonathan stitches me up, I'll get my own back the next time. There's a hierarchy in the referee pecking order in like any organisation. So I imagine the junior ones who are relatively new to the Premier League might be held up occasionally on VAR, but the senior ones probably won't be. When Mike Dean was there, you have to have an independent body doing the review of those decisions. It can't be referees, because they're getting it wrong, or they're not.
Well, and also,
they don't want to stitch their notes up.
Somebody mentioned, I'll put the thing up. There you go. Should be done like rugby. Absolutely right. Because the rugby referees take their lead from the TMO. The TMO gets in his ear and said, "Mate, you need to have a look at this," and they defer to them because they realise that they can see more of the game than the actual ref can. Absolutely. But I mean, I agree with you that it needs to be independent people, specialist people in VAR, independent from the referee. The referee has to fucking take it. But mate, there's still so many problems with it. It's still re-refereeing games. It's still taking the emotion out of it. Just fucking get rid of it. I swear to God, JK, if they get rid of it, I will never complain about a refereeing decision ever again. I promise faithfully with my life. Okay.
I don't believe you.
Really?
I don't believe you. What would happen is you'll just go, "Did you fucking see that decision?"
That referee's a complete Gareth.
It's about 25 yards offside. You didn't fucking give it. And we all saw it on the television, but you didn't give it. That's what you'll say. We know that. Now, listen, I think that they have to wait, because offside will become automated next year, which takes whole pressure off the linesman. You could therefore be involved in the game much more than he is at the moment, because all he does now is just run like a scalded cat up and down the line, hoping he gets the offside right. So ball in and out of play, and that even the ball in and out of play he gets wrong, and he waits for the referee to make a decision. A number of times, linesman standing there with his hand quivering, not knowing which way to give it because he wasn't really looking, and the referee gives it. And you see the referee point. The referee points that way, whatever, and he puts his flag up immediately, or he does what the referee says. So that gives him an opportunity. And even Poch said it at the presser the other day. He said there needs to be communication. We need to hear it. We need to hear what they're saying. He said he would keep it, but it needs to change. And so they have to take all of this on board. The dilemma is if any of the fuckers will actually take anything on board that is they'll pay lip service to it. You bet. I think they should get referees from the continent to come and do the stuff. If you need to get refs to be in the box rather than players, so people do know the laws, who have no relationship with any of the English referees, because it's all down to as you were saying, the status and the deferring, because they if as it's Taylor, they don't want to piss Taylor off. And that is what that's become. It's not about making the proper decision for the game. It's about, he's made the decision. Let's accept that he knows what he's talking about, rather than the fact that the number of times he gets it wrong, or you'd think that he realised, having ref for so long, frequently you're not in the right position for it, or somebody's got a better angle, or there's a player in front of you, or you haven't quite seen the incident. Rely on what is there before you. Rely on the technology. Work as a team, as they do in rugby, and allow even the touch judge in rugby has as much power as the referee. If he sees something, he flags. The referee doesn't ignore it or say, "I'm in charge. No, you defer to me."
Basically,
what do you hear?
Take the ego out of it.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible the way it is at the moment. It's not possible.
No, I think you're right.
He's so fond of himself, Taylor. You just
I know. He is the definition of a Gareth. Right, listen, let's go back to the football. I thought it was poor defending. We said so at the time, didn't we, JK? Poor defending for the goal. I thought the super inverted poodle actually became rather introverted, and he didn't close down his man. But actually, I thought they went off the boil in the second. I mean, they scored that goal, and I don't know. There was a bit of a kind of, after the Lord Mayor's show about it all, and I don't think the subs helped. None of them made an impact. We did look worse for Moises going off. There was a lot of huffing and puffing, but I thought there was a bit of a sense of job done, really, and they weren't as on it as they have. We were saying the other week, when they get a goal, they want to get another two more. But they were all a bit, huffing and puffing, and it was all a bit, I think I don't really need to say any more than that, really. It was just a bit, wasn't it, JK?
Oh, I thought you were asking Mark.
Well, I don't know who I'm asking really. So it's just that
Yes,
you know.
they did. They did.
I looked at you first.
No, I know, but I thought the fact that I been
So should we ask Mark then?
been screeching for about the last 5 minutes. It was Mark's turn. I thought it was
Okay,
only
it's Mark's turn. What do you think, Mark? You're right, JK. It's Mark's turn.
He gives way to the honourable gentleman. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
He gives way. I give way. So I made the point earlier about Caicedo. He had to have been injured. Otherwise, you want to take him off. It did seem with the substitutions, and this has been one of my criticisms during the course season. We seem to like doing sort of 4 or 5 substitutions a game when sometimes we don't need to. And that triple substitution, certainly for a period of time, just unsettled the whole sort of makeup and setup of the team. It felt like we were shutting up shop. Obviously, Gusto came on from Madueke. Now, I know he can play further forward, but it seemed we were happy with the 2-1 victory and we were going to hold out. But if that was the tactic, that's wrong because it just makes everybody nervous. Les came on, Alvin Stardust's famous song, my Uga Chukwu. He started slowly, but keep up. I'm here all night. I thought he started slow, but I thought towards the end, I thought he had settled in midfield. And I think what helped him for that last long part of the game, I thought the substitution he should have made first was bringing on David Cassidy. See, I'm doing all the pops in one go at the moment.
You are. You've gone very 70s, Mark.
How can you be sure? How can you be sure? A world that's constantly
changing. Yeah. But when Cassidy came on, he came on with about 10 minutes to go, if you include extra time. And I think he won 3 headers in the space of a couple of minutes. And for that last 10 minutes of the game, I think him and Les then just settled down the midfield again. But that period between 65 minutes, we had a 20-minute period where you're just thinking, oh, my God, this is so reflective of so many second-half performances this season. We're in real danger of conceding a second goal here, and they're getting a late equaliser.
Oh, they nearly did. Solanke was a gnat's cock away
from.
And
I was about to say, and like Cassie's, Cassie was sitting behind me yesterday. And when
was she with the mysterious guy with the white hair that wasn't Dog?
Yes, it was. Yes, she was with Dog yesterday. I don't know who that mysterious guy at Brighton was.
I think he imagined it. I think he imagined it.
It was an imaginary supporter who I kept saying, "What's happened?" And he kept saying, "Kunku scored." Where was it? Whoa! What did he do?
It was in your head, JK.
It was in my head. I needed somebody to help me, to nudge me along. Yes, because I couldn't see. Yeah.
But when Solanke came on, obviously people start singing Chelsea Reject. And Kathy says, no, stop singing, because every time we sing Chelsea Reject, they always go up and score against us. And obviously, when that ball came in, that latter part towards the end, I have no idea how Solanke missed it. Petrovic made a good save, and then Solanke just skied it. And we were very lucky at the end that didn't go in. But also, I thought, credit to Bournemouth. I think you've got to give a lot of credit to Bournemouth yesterday. You would have expected they were good. They didn't have anything to play for. You could have, they had a go. And I actually sort of think, give credit to them. One of the frustrating parts of this season has been so many teams turn up with the low block and park the bus, and then we have difficulty breaking it down. Wasn't the case yesterday at Bournemouth. From the start, they had a go for the 90 minutes. And do you know what? That's good to see. They played some really good football. They had more shots on goal than we did. So they were unlucky not to get a point. We were hanging on in that latter part of the second half. But we shouldn't have. We should have in that first 20 minutes. We were so good in that first 20 minutes of the game yesterday. We should have put the game to bed. So
we were guilty again, Mark. We were guilty, weren't we, Mark, of everything we've done this season, which we thought we'd eradicated. We thought we were much more clinical. I think part of it was because Palmer wasn't 100%. He was still. He's still excellent. He still does his lovely silky stuff, but he wasn't on it completely. And
that's my point. That's my point, JK. I thought the Cassidy substitution, and I said him and Les, Les had a nervy start, but he settled down. And in that last 10 minutes, I thought him and Cassidy had it bossed again. But I would have taken Palmer off earlier.
Yes,
he has been absolutely brilliant for us this year. He looked knackered yesterday. And I thought, actually, if we'd taken him off a half hour ago, if he'd been the first, or if he'd gone off at the same time and kept Madueke on, shall we say, great when he went off. The reception he got if anyone wasn't there and couldn't see if you're watching on the television, the whole stadium applauded him off yesterday when he went off with a few minutes ago. Standing ovation for him, because he has been our talisman for this season. He's been magnificent. But I would have given him rest. I would have taken him off a lot earlier, because I said he did look tired.
He did. I mean, in a funny old sense, we knew we were going to get 6 unless we lost. And I think when we scored, after Moises scored, I think most of us thought, oh, here we go, we're going to win this one, all right. There was a real sense it was the match was almost kind of incidental to everything else that was going on. I mean, in the pub before, it was just, I'll talk about it later, but it was brilliant. So many people, real kind of last match of the season kind of feeling. It was a bit of a party atmosphere. And of course, the other reason we were all there and we were all looking forward to it was, of course, it was, the long goodbye for Thiago Silva. So we had the wonderful tifo, both, the Matthew Harding end and the Shed end, which was lovely. And then, of course, after the match, he did do his farewell. It was lovely to see him to address the supporters in English, because we know he doesn't speak English too well. I thought, as I said to you at the time, JK, I said, mate, nobody's left. The whole stadium was full.
It was phenomenal. Yeah. I love that. But rightly so. 4 years of brilliance.
He's really touched our hearts, though. I don't think it's just about what he's done on the pitch and what he's represented in that way. There's something about there's been an emotional connection between the player and the supporters and his wife, it has to be said, who, as you know, I absolutely adore. I mean, somebody asked me what my favourite moment from the season was yesterday, and I said easy. I said it was watching us absolutely dry hump Spurs 4-1 at White Hart Lane. I got to spend the second half with my mate Mark, and I hardly ever get to sit with him at a football match. And me and him got a selfie taken with Belle Silva. It was like the Holy Trinity. Thank you very much, But she was in the Butcher's Hook before, in the pub with the fans. And I mean, and I thought about that. And I mean, she was in the away ends so many times this season. And I'm just thinking maybe, there's something wonderfully South American about it. There's no, kind of us and them. It's no. I mean, I was just thinking you would very rarely get an English wife going in the away end with the away supporters. They'd be, oh, I need my security there, and they might actually want to talk to me or even touch me. Not Belle. She's right in there, giving it large. I mean, I think maybe it's a South American thing, but I think it's that kind of thing that has helped this connection, and she's been as important to that as he has on the pitch in a way, and it's clearly reciprocated. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, JK.
But I thought it was also from the very beginning he was given an enormous amount of love by the fans, which he didn't wander off and look.
Well, not the first season, because of course we weren't there. It was the COVID season.
No. But I think still that, as I said on Friday, that wonderful moment when he was celebrating with Mason Mount in the stands. Yes. And that was really bonding when people were, but also he played so wonderfully. There's the other thing. So the following season, when he was then serenaded, he didn't do that thing of just wandering off, paying no attention. He would deliberately go up and clap everybody and be part of it, which is something that has happened every game. Every game he has been serenaded. Every game he's waved to the fans. So he's been communicating all the time. It's something that Poch could learn a little bit. I'm not suggesting that Poch should wander in all the time and give high fives or pump them up in the way that Klopp did do with the Liverpool fans. But nonetheless, if you give love to the supporters, you get it back, and particularly in his instance, it was the other reason, of course, was he was wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful footballer. So we love wonderful footballers, and we want to show our appreciation for wonderful footballers. And I hope Palmer learns that, because he tends to duck off pretty quickly down the tunnel from time to time, and I don't like that. I'd like him to be, but he's what is he, 22, and he's not yet. And it's his first season of discovering that he is actually potentially.
And he is from the north, to be fair.
He's from the northern bastard. There's the other problem.
Bastard.
We didn't talk about that. Yes, of course.
But
But yes,
he's not. He's not from Yorkshire. He's not from
No,
Yorkshire.
he's a mank. He's a mank.
It's not more like that. Northern Bastard is there, isn't it?
That's a scouser. That's a scouser.
No, it's not. It's not completely Scouse. It's like
Yes,
half
it
and
is.
half.
You
It's
went
half,
all, no. You
not.
sound like Paul fucking Grady, mate.
it's half and half. It's Paula Grady.
You're Lily fucking Savage.
It's
You
my
are.
Lily fucking Savage impersonation. You're right.
Very
it is.
good, actually. Are you in
Sorry.
fact Paul Grady resurrected?
Very much indeed. I've actually done this on radio. Paula Grady. I've done it like that. Yeah, but
Now
no,
you've got a bit Yorkshire.
no, I haven't. That would be me Yorkshire. That's
Bastard.
bastard. Fucking Leeds, bastards. They're all bastards.
Listen. There's some wonderful Thiago highlights, which I swiped off Twitter. Actually, somebody did a lovely thread with video, which reminded me of some lovely moments. The goal line clearance against Juventus, the equalising goal against Man City with that mental celebration, winning the Champions League, Super Cup and the Club World Cup, and how much it meant to him. The masterclass against Real Madrid in the semis, the absolutely incredible goal line clearance against Arsenal, where he kind of did a keepy-uppy and then booted it out on the fucking goal line. And he did a similar one against Madrid, where he ended up in the back of the net. But I mean, it's
headed goal against Tottenham as well at the
yes,
in the 3-0. Great.
Yeah.
And we were all behind the goal. Bloody hell, what a great game that was. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Absolutely right. So there was that as well. It's we used to say this about Ashley Cole, didn't we? That he was the best clearer off a line that we'd seen. But I think bless Ashley, I think Thiago Silva has trumped him somewhat. But it was just lovely. I thought we saw him off good and proper yesterday. I was so delighted that nobody appeared to have left, Mark. I mean, it's unusual at the Bridge, There's not many times where we can say nobody left. And it looked to me like nobody had left. Everybody knew why they had to be there and they stayed for it.
I think that was sort of part of why everybody was there yesterday. Yeah. The game, as you said, was probably sort of almost like a sideshow to the main event, which was people wanting to say goodbye to someone in such a short period of time has left a remarkable footprint in Chelsea Football Club. And we've said this many times. There is something about this club and its DNA that gets under the skin of certain players. And he clearly got it. His family got it. We got him, vice versa. But can you imagine if we'd signed him about 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It would have been, imagine him and John Terry playing together. That would have been incredible. The latter part of John Terry's years and Thiago Silva beside him would have been incredible to see. He's been a remarkable servant to Chelsea Football Club. Yeah.
But Mark, would that have meant no Carvalho?
No. Ricky C went off years before, didn't he?
Yeah, Ricky C went off to Real Madrid. Yeah. It might have been no Gary Cahill, but in a squad game, can you imagine if we'd had Thiago Silva 10 years ago?
Okay, here's a question. Yeah. David Luiz or Thiago Silva?
It's a no-brainer. You'd have
David Luiz every time.
Every time. No, you'd have Thiago Silva.
Well, we could have had them both. We'd have had the
play JT. Yes, get rid of JT.
We'd have had the Brazilian defence that leaked 7 goals in the semi-final of a World Cup to Germany.
And if we'd had him 12 years ago, he'd have probably played in the Champions League final, because that was the other beautiful thing about yesterday. It was Munich Day.
Yes, it was, wasn't it? Of course, yeah.
And that's and people just sort of say, "Well, Happy Munich Day." Yeah, it's 12-year anniversary.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, lovely. The memories. Right. We're going to have a quick break in a sec. But of course, before we do, we always do this, of course, because Mark writes for CFC UK, as do I. That's the last issue with the aforementioned Thiago Silva, as we've been saying, up there. Well, as Dave says here, actually, up there with Chelsea's greatest. Now, that's the last one this season. Clearly, there are no more matches, but you can get a copy of everybody's favourite fanzine next season, either in person on a match day at the stall opposite Fulham Broadway, have a chat with Marco, have a chat with Dave. Alternatively, you can subscribe by doing the following. Well, you email fanzine at cfcuk.net and you tell Dave you want to subscribe. And then the subscription fees for a year or a season are 20 quid in the UK, 45 quid in Europe, 60 quid in the rest of the world. Alternatively, if you don't want a hard copy sent to you in the post, then you can get it digitally. So you get a PDF emailed to you, £6 for a season, £1 each. And you can pay all of that via PayPal to fanzine at cfcuk.net. Now, the other thing that we like to promote on this show is the Chelsea Pitch Owners, Mark. Why should people buy a Chelsea Pitch Owners share, Mark?
Because if you don't have a Chelsea Pitch Owners,
we'll riot.
I should have said earlier about when we were talking about VAR, you could get another T-shirt made. You know, if you don't get rid of VAR, we'll riot. Or if you don't get rid of Stockley Park, we'll riot. No, you should have a Chelsea Pitch Owners share, because if you don't have a share, you can't have a say in what happens about the stadium, whether we build a new stadium on the current site and have to move out, or, you know, hopefully won't happen. We have to relocate somewhere else. You know, the importance of CPO share, you know, buy a share, have a voice.
Absolutely right. Now, if you want to buy a share, it's easy. Just go to the chelseafc.com website. Just search for Chelsea Pitch Owners and it'll take you to the right page. And you can actually buy one online. And they're 110 quid for an electronic share and about 175 quid for a framed share signed by a player. That one there is signed by Frank Lampard, would you believe? So there you go. Massively important.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you. Also add as well, because just seeing Jenny's point about Frank Kirby going on the wall. What you've also got now is you've got a number of the pitch owners shared, not just by the men's team, but also by the women's team as well. They've all been locked in a room in Cobham and signed a number of shares. So if you go onto the CPO website, they'll provide details of which players, both the men's and women's team, have signed a CPO share certificate.
There we go. You know what to do. No excuses now. Right, we're going to go for a quick break, and then we'll be back to talk more about the Bournemouth Chelsea games and more broader topics as well, I suspect. See you in a minute.
Real fans, real opinions.
I'm Jason Cundy, and you're listening to Chidge and the boys on the Chelsea Football Fancast. Total nutters and proper Chelsea.
Footballfancast.com.
There we go. Welcome back. I'm Stamford Chidge. This is the Chelsea Fancast, our last Monday show of the season, talking about what was it? Drivel and pointless analysis of games before and in this case after the match. And I've got with me, of course, the chief driveler, Mr. Jonathan Kydd.
Drivel and dribble. Yes, absolutely.
Indeed.
Dribbling. Yes, lovely to be on the show. Thank you. With esteemed guest, of course, Mr. Meehan.
Very esteemed. Yes, very esteemed. Good to see you, Mark.
Good to see you both, and good to have so many people in Mixler tonight, and also putting lots of great chat in the comment field on YouTube. And again, thanks to everybody who's listened to the Fancast throughout the season.
Oh yes,
it's really appreciated. And actually, the people stop you and sort of like, you know, say positive things about the Fancast. You know, it's really good that people take the time and trouble on a Monday evening to listen to the pointless drivel we all come out with.
I know, it amazes me that anybody does, and here they are.
I come out with more pointless drivel than you do, and you.
Oh, come on! I think that's a close run thing. To be fair, mate.
You reckon? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, how else would the fucking show be a shambles if we didn't do that? Equally.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Perhaps Mark should give us some more drivel.
He's so important. He thinks a lot of himself. He thinks a lot of it. Have you never heard that one? My mum used to sing that to me. No wonder I'm fucking damaged.
Well, that sounds terrible.
Where's that from?
I can't remember.
Charlie, only his mum. His mum.
I don't think she made that up. I don't think she made that up.
She did. I think she definitely did. Oh dear.
Gilbert and Sullivan, is it? Is it like opera? Or...
He's so important. I can't remember. I need to go and I'll ask her when I see her on Thursday. I said, Mum, you know that song you used to sing to me that damaged me and put me in therapy for about 500 years? Can you tell me what it was? Because I need to tell the boys on the Chelsea Fancast because they're actually quite interested to know. Right. More pointless analysis and drivel coming up. First of all, you know, we were saying earlier, you know, in part one, JK, that a lot of players that we were really pissed off with and really not. I mean, I remember a stage in the season where I said, do you know what, JK? I don't actually like many of the players in this team. I don't really like them. I don't really have any bond or affinity with them. I just don't like them. They're all quite shit, frankly, mate, and I'm a bit unhappy. Well, we've now said, actually, Moises, Madueke. Moises! Get out of here, Moises. Anyway, Moises, Madueke, the super inverted poodle, for fuck's sake, who I hated, love him now. Badiashile, you know, I've never actually had a downer on Badiashile. You know, there's a lot of players that we're beginning to warm. Jackson, for fuck's sake, you know, I'm warming to him. A lot of players are beginning to warm to who are becoming a lot better, and we've visibly seen their improvement. But there are two, I mean, that you wouldn't have said that about at all. I mean, you know, Conor Gallagher, I thought was good last season in a very difficult season. He's been easily our second best player throughout the season, only surpassed by the incomparable, Cole Palmer. So I saw a tweet on them. I better not put this up on screen, but Mike, that's Philip Larkin, that poem. I know the one you're talking about. I use it in my work. Absolutely. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, I mean, Connor's been superb, only surpassed really by Palmer this season. And isn't it interesting how well we've been playing as a team, and in particular defensively, since Thiago Silva came back in the side? And you might remember under Tuchel, we went something like 19 games and that Trevo started, and we didn't lose a game when he played. So, you know, Trevo's impact on the end of the season cannot be underestimated. And of course, we're one day after the end of the season, and all we're reading on, in the media, courtesy of social media putting it up, is how much they're selling Connor for, how many offers have come in. Apparently, the price for Chalobah is 25 million. It would be fucking criminally insane to sell these two players, period. But to sell Trevo Chalobah for 25 million quid, I mean, fuck off with that shit. It's just insanity, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, but isn't that just utter clickbait? Aren't we in the same world where somebody put up some bloke? They're quite clever. What they do is they get hold of a name and they slightly misspell it at the bottom, so it'll be Nisa Kinsella or something, and they'll spell his name with an S, so it actually looks like him and it isn't. And they'll say Chelsea are interested in the Ipswich manager, and because of the madness of social media, people don't write up, this is made up bollocks. They write up, oh my God, the club have gone mad. Oh my God, what are we going to do? They take it seriously. And as with everything, you put the Trevor Chalobah's worth 25 million, they take it seriously. In a sense, we're taking it seriously by talking about it, aren't we, really? And they do the same with Connor.
Yeah, but I think to be fair, the issue around Gallagher and Chalobah have been kicking around for a long time.
Yes,
we know that they were trying to get rid of Trevo in the summer. We know about Gallagher. That's why we've got a flaming T-shirt. But I think, you know, the interesting thing that I was reading today is that, forgetting, of course, that Trevo started in pre-season playing for Pochettino, who clearly fancies him as a player. He rates him as highly as a player. And then he got injured, so therefore didn't get a chance. The minute he's not injured, he's back in. You know, he rates both Gallagher and Chalobah. You know, and why the fuck shouldn't he? I mean, forget the fact they're homegrown. Forget the fact they get the club. Bollocks to that. It's immaterial. They are worth their place in the side because they are very good. And in Connor's case, better than everybody apart from Cole Palmer. I mean, they've got to keep them. It would be, for a footballing reason, it would be ridiculous to get rid of them, wouldn't it, Mark?
Absolutely, 100% agree. And also, you know, whether it's just clickbait or whatever, and the rumours were he's on the market for £25 million. Well, he's been a better defender than Dizazi and Badiashile this season, and they cost a lot more than that. Yeah, it's just, you know, he's earned his place in that squad for next season. Conor Gallagher has earned his place in that squad for next season. Now, I know everyone worries about PSR, but we have to find a certain amount of money by the 30th of June. And I think if you step back and don't get sucked in by the clickbait, and another one as well, someone's posted up there, they've basically said that Dortmund has offered 21.5 million for Maatsen, and Chelsea's asking price for Maatsen is 35 million. So people lost their shit today, saying, "Oh, Dortmund, bloody hell!" I said, "Look, you don't even enter the conversation. It's called negotiation. So if Dortmund have offered 21.5 million, guess what? We can say no. Offer 35 million, or we're not selling you the player. That's how it works." That's how we ended up paying 115 million for Caicedo. That was Brighton's price, and we paid it. If Dortmund wants Ian Maatsen so badly, and they might win the Champions League with him in it, in a couple of weeks' time, they'll pay what Chelsea want them to pay. But people just lose it today, like Alex Goldberg, just like, it's just like, calm down, people. The season only ended sort of 24 hours ago. People have got to fill their spaces, and the way they can fill their space up is throwing rubbish like this out. If you look at the end of the day, I keep both of them from my point of view as a supporter, and looking at it objectively from a football point of view, they've both earned their place in the squad next season. We're in Europe. We'll need a decent sized squad next season. We've also suffered from injuries last season. We'll lose players from injury next season. We'll need as many players as possible. If we have to find 100 million, just do a quick bit of mathematics. They will sell Lukaku. Lewis Hall will be counted in this year's PSR figures, so he will be sold to Newcastle. We will sell Maatsen at a fee to be confirmed by Chelsea Football Club and agreed. We will sell Kepa. We will sell Ziyech. And I think we'll sell Malang Sarr as well. So those 6 players straight away will fetch a reasonable sum of money. We've also got about 22 players on loan at this present moment in time. Now, some of them may go out on loan for a further year. Some of them may come back to Chelsea Football Club. But do you know what? Might sound harsh. Some of them will be sold as well. Like Harvey Vale may never get a chance at Chelsea Football Club now, but he's a good footballer. So Chelsea might decide on the back of his loan successfully at Bristol Rovers this year that they might sell him. That's quite feasible, quite possible. Dion Rankin, he's been around the academy quite some time. He's now on loan. He's age 21. Chelsea might want a fee for him. Now, I don't think they should sell this player, but you know what? They might. Ipswich have got promoted, and Mari Hutchinson has been absolutely fantastic for them this season. Ipswich might make an absolutely outrageous offer with the money they get from coming into the Premier League. So without looking at Conor Gallagher and Trevo, we should be quite capable as a football club of finding 100 million to not worry about PSR. Yeah, calm down, everybody. Relax. The season's only been over 24 hours.
Calm down, dear. It's just a commercial. Anyway.
Absolutely. And obviously, Rich Moneymaker's put in there as well. Yeah, Mason Mount comes on the books this year as well. So everything, don't worry about a thing. Everything's going to be all right.
Well, I bloody hope so, because I should be well pissed off. I mean, the other issue, of course, is Pochettino. And the rumours about him. I mean, he's got to have this big meeting with them all this week, hasn't he? I mean, JK, I'm sorry. From what I've seen, he's done more than enough to keep his job. I mean, Tim Rolls put it very eloquently, as Tim is wont to do on X or Twitter, if you prefer. We've actually played some really good football recently. We've been scoring. I mean, a year ago, we were all in desperate straits because we couldn't hit the back of the goal, the back of the net if our life depended on it. We just couldn't score. Now we're scoring goals for fun. I mean, we're scoring goals even though we don't have a proper number 9. We're still scoring goals. He's got them playing good football. He's got them playing as a team. They're clearly playing for him. I mean, it's not always the case that Chelsea players actually play for the manager or even like him. So I think that's a good thing. He's got us into 6th. So he's got us European football next season. Okay, it's not the top 4. But if you go back 30 games, this is the frightening thing. I looked at the Flash Score form guide. Over the last 30 games, we'd be in 4th position. So yes, a combination of injuries. It took a bit of a while for him to figure it out and get them kind of playing. But as I said, been saying for the last month or two, we're looking like a top 4 side. I don't think we're that far away, and I think he's been instrumental in that. Not the players. He's been instrumental in that. So they have to keep him. So do you think he's done enough? And do you think they will keep him?
He's definitely done enough. There is something lurking in me that believes they might make a a ludicrous decision just because they have the power, but they'd have to persuade the owners. And apparently he had supper with one of them the other day. Not that that means anything, Egbali or Bowley, whichever one it was. But I think it would be foolish, given that there has been an enormous upturn in competence for the whole team. And it may be, though, that it's his influence on the transfers that may be the problem. He may not feel that he's got enough of a say in who they purchase next, or in the fact that he may want to purchase some players with experience. Again, something we don't know anything about, something that we're just having to guess is going on because we're not party to any of the negotiations, or his attitude towards how his group of staff is he himself and his regular staff members are being treated and respected. If he feels he's not being respected, he may walk. If he doesn't feel he has enough to do, he may walk. It may not be down to the progress of the team. It may be a decision that he might make because he doesn't feel that he's allowed to be involved. I mean, I think the summer would be a perfect opportunity for him to say, "I'd like a few of my players now, please. I'd like 3 players that I choose, that are not chosen by the sporting directors." But his big thing is always, I have to pass it through the sporting directors. But if he says, "Look, guys, this is what is required for the team. This is what I've been moving towards," and they flatly say no, and we're selling the following players, he may say, "Right, I'm out of here." Yeah. Or it may be that he just backs down and says, "Okay, I'll do what you want. You're the guys with the plan." We don't know exactly what's going to go on. Personally, I would have him. I don't know who else could come in and deal with them. I mean, the fat people are saying, "Oh, the De Zerbi could come in." I mean, he's had a terrible time, but also they've had lots of injuries as well. I don't know who else could come in and he's made a big thing about getting to know the players, as we've said. You can tell he's very good at his man management skills indeed, which I think is a huge plus. And tactically, it's been getting better and better. And as you say, we're beginning to score. Did we not score more goals than under Tuchel?
Yeah.
So that
wouldn't be hard. That wouldn't be hard, to be fair.
Wouldn't be hard. But also we've unearthed in the season a wonderful player in Cole Palmer, who, in a sense, when we were talking earlier about saying we want a top player to run the show for us, well, we've got one. And we've stumbled on him accidentally, really, because we just thought he'd be another winger, instead of which he's this maestro. We've got a maestro which he needs to have almost the team not built around him, but they need to be very sensitive as to who they can get around him, I think. And I'm afraid it means for me that you wouldn't have Jackson as a permanent starter because he's still very raw. You just have to nurture him along. He does moments of great skill. He did a wonderful thing on the touchline where he just flicked the ball backwards and then ran on with it and then didn't pass it to anybody. There's this final, he does something very good and then doesn't follow it through. But he's a work in progress. But I just think that if they get, we talked about it on Friday, if you've got a centre half, if you've got Van Dijk in, for example, or somebody, I even suggested Tarkowski from Everton, who I think his stats are fantastic. Just somebody who is a rock in the centre half. And yet they would probably say, we've got Colwill, we've got Badiashile, Fofana may be fit, we won't get anybody in.
Yeah, and fair enough. enough.
Yeah. But going back to what you were saying, I think he definitely needs to stay. I don't know anybody else could push it through. He holds all the cards for what is required for the team now. You stay with him, obviously.
I mean, Jackson's a very interesting case in point, Mark. I mean, he scored 17 goals this season, and yet I think JK's assessment of him is absolutely spot on. He's nowhere near there yet. But to get 17 goals in his first season in the Premier League, when he still can't get half of his game completely right, I mean that's pretty bloody good. It has to. You can't deny that. He's a striker. What is it that David Coleman once said famously in the Liverpool-Newcastle Cup final? Kevin, something about Kevin Keegan scores the goal. Goals pay the rent, or something like that. And they do if you're a striker. That's how you're measured. That's how people define whether you're good or not. He scored 17 goals. That's pretty bloody good.
And history down the years would have shown we would have killed for a guy to score 17 goals at many seasons in our history. We haven't had that many players in our history that was regularly hitting 20, 25 goals a season. So 17 in a first season. And with a little bit more luck and a little bit more time and a little bit more calmness on his part, he would have broken the 20-goal Gary as well.
Mm.
It's a good start, and I think some of that, and it has taken time this season. I think some of that you've got to credit Pochettino with this. Is as much as people have criticised him for earlier parts of the season, I think he has to have his day in the sun now, because the last 5 games have shown a lot of promise. From this group of players, we've seen glimpses throughout the season. We saw it in the 2-2 draw at Arsenal. We saw it in the 4-4 game at Man City. You just see glimpses of these players, Jackson included, where you sort of think, oh, there's something here. So not only do most of these players deserve an opportunity next season as well.
Sorry, Mark. This is why I love this show. There you go.
Yeah.
We've got. I mean, mate. I mean, we might be a shambolic, rubbishy, podcast on Chelsea, but our listeners are the best listeners in the world, aren't they? They are just superb. Ian Noakes there. Hello, Ian. Lovely to hear from you. Goals pay the rent, and Keegan does his share. 1-0. David Coleman, 1974 Cup final. One for the teenagers there, JK. But JK, we've taken JK back to that moment 50 years ago. He's like,
was it all against Newcastle, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
3-0 against Newcastle. And I'm sure, was that the year Bruce Forsyth did the community singing?
It was. Yeah, he did.
It was.
He did.
I'm sure it was
nice to see you. Nice. Lovely.
I was going to say, as well as the players having the opportunity, I think Pochettino deserves a second season. And people sort of tout the Brighton manager, and I know he's just recently resigned, and someone allegedly has paid £4 million compensation to Brighton. I don't think it is us for 1 minute, and I wouldn't want him. He's come up against Pochettino on 4 occasions this season. Yes, they've had their injuries, but my word, so have we. And Pochettino has trumped him on 4 occasions. I think he's had his one season wonder at Zerbi, and I think he'll move on to
day out. He can fuck off home, mate.
And I think he'll move to Parsons New somewhere in Europe. It won't be in here. Poch's had a lot to deal with this year. He's got a phenomenal amount of injuries. He's got a group of young players that have been thrown at him. He's pulled them together to try and make a team. I would worry significantly if we make a decision within the next week or so that he leaves Chelsea Football Club. I think we'd be back to where we are with Thomas Tuchel leaving. So I would see. I know people read into things. I would see his dinner with Bowley on Friday as a positive. I would say, if I was a betting man, I would say Todd Bowley is squarely in Pochettino's corner, and he would want Pochettino to stay. So again, I know Todd Bowley gets a lot of criticism. If for any reason Pochettino went, I suspect it would be other people, not Todd Bowley. I think Todd Bowley would like to keep him. I think that's a really positive thing on his part. He'll be talking to Pochettino, hopefully, about reassuring him for the future and having a conversation with it. He'll share with the rest of the board.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I think, there's definitely been improvements. I mean, we're 19 points better off than we were last season. We're still just shy of 30 points off the top. But to go from 19 points and 12th to, 6, it's definitely improvement. We're seeing the players improve. The atmosphere is improving. There's not an awful lot required to get us pushing on to where we need to get back to. But I think, JK, that this summer, will tell us a lot about where the ownership is at. Because a mature ownership that been running a football club for a while would see what we're seeing, and they would know not to tinker too much. There's just a few tweaks here and there, a couple of good players, maybe experienced players. Maybe, get the sporting directors to work with Poch more closely, trust him a bit more, and just keep going in the right direction. If they sell the likes of Connor and Chalobah, which would be stupid on footballing reasons, and if they get rid of Poch, then it tells you everything you need to know about this ownership and where we're at with them, I think. So I think it's a big summer for them too.
But I don't think they'd be so stupid as to get rid of him. Or to sell either of those 2 players, unless
let's hope not.
Unless the sporting directors can convince them otherwise. You don't know what power they've got, and also I think it may be the fact that the owners are a bit thick about the whole way that the league is run. They may bow down to their superior intelligence. Supposedly, that's maybe one of the problems. If Winstanley and Stewart have got these ideas that they're not good enough or whatever, or they can get better players in for the master plan, it may be that Poch has got nothing to say. We once again don't know what Poch's status in with this. I mean, Rich here says, doesn't he? He says Poch was obviously very good with youngsters, but he says Gallagher doesn't want to go. Well, at least we know that. But I think his previous one was, what's he put? He's disappeared here off the page. I think he was saying that he has no say in transfers. Well, I would think that he has an opinion about who he would like, and I think he would talk to the sporting directors accordingly. I don't think he would just sit back and say, well, I'll do whatever you like then, unless that's, passivity is his deal with them. I don't know what, perhaps he signed the contract saying, I will accept the fact that the sporting directors make the decision. So, he knows where he is. I think it unlikely because he's such an experienced manager. He will come in and say, we need a certain player. I know who I want. In which case it starts to become an element of his team. When he was asked about the presser the other day, was it his team? He said, no, it's Chelsea's team. He said, you have to club for 20 years. Wenger's, it was his team. He chose everybody then, and he even Klopp to an extent, it was his team because he molded it. At the moment, he's been with us for a season. It's not his team. It's the sporting director's team, and he's making the best of it. However, he must have an involvement, surely, for the experience he's got and the players he's seen, the players he's worked with. He must know that somebody, or even the contacts he's got, somebody says, you must look at this guy. He's fantastic, who he's worked with for ages. He's worked with before in the past. He'll look at him and say, I think this person would fit the bill. It's not about doing everything in a vacuum. It's about having contacts and having experience of the kind of player that you want to make the team better. And to me, that's what is likely to happen. They can't sit back and tell him what to do. So I don't actually agree with you. Well, you're saying that we've hired Sam Jewell to get experience. Well, I don't know I see what you mean. You're saying to get experienced players. Well, let's hope, therefore, that we get experienced players. But is it that Poch would have no say? I'm sorry. I think he must have a say because he would know what they're like. Once again, we're speculating. I don't know the answer, but the logic says to me that he must have an input somewhere.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, and again, sorry, Chidge. Yeah, you're right, Chidge. We don't know the answer at the end of the day. I think we have to try and put a level of optimism on that. Chidge is right. This is a big moment for the ownership group. They took a massive step forward yesterday, and I don't know if you've read it. They put that one-page article in the programme. The narrative, obviously, is very much about what Chelsea needs to be, but also where we've been and the need that people, we've needed to be patient, but we're now seeing the fruit of that. We've improved in the second half of the season. I would really find it difficult that they'd push that button now. The only thing I would see is if Poch himself decided to walk away. I don't think they would push him out the door. It would just destabilise the clubs even further. And I don't see who else they would give the job to either. I think he deserves a second season. And then he may not be the person, he might be the Ranieri to Chelsea's Mourinho. Ranieri came in at a sort of like a difficult time, didn't win anything for Chelsea, came close a couple of times, lost the cup final, got to a European semi-final. But he put together a team that Mourinho topped and tailed and tweaked and made them into world beaters. So Pochettino may never be the man for longevity, but he might put us in a position maybe the next manager will reap his benefits. And I do think he deserves another season.
No, I do. I mean, basically, boys, at the end of what has been, it's been a roller coaster season. It's been a bit depressing at times. We've torn our hair out on here many a time. But I feel a sense of optimism that I haven't felt. I mean, I'll go back to this. I think it was such a seminal moment. The last time I felt really genuinely good and optimistic about Chelsea was after the Juventus game at home in the Champions League, where we gave them a shoeing, and we were on fire that day, and we were top of the league, and then it all went to shit after that, didn't it? And it just got worse and worse and worse. I mean, I know we got in the cup finals and things, but I've not felt this optimistic since then, and I am feeling optimistic. I think we've got some really good players. I think we've got a manager who can get a tune out of them. I'm feeling good. But I'm lurking in the distance for me is what the owners may or may not do. What stupidity, what idiocy have they got in their locker to ruin it all? But I mean, basically, JK, are you feeling more optimistic now than you were, say, at the beginning of the season?
Definitely. But they need to start as they finished, and I can't actually see that they won't unless they get injured again. And perhaps you'll have all the injuries, a clean slate. Perhaps everybody will be there to be selected. Lavia might have a season. He might reveal himself as a terrific player. I think pre-season becomes important. I know we don't normally pay much attention to pre-season.
We're going to cover it this year.
We are. We should.
Oh, yeah, we're going to, because we got some mates to help us out. I'll tell you more about it off air.
Hey, Chidge, girl, I didn't know that. This is new.
We're going to the States, JK. We crowdfunded it. No, we didn't really.
We're going to the States. We're in our dreams, aren't we, Chidge?
Yeah, like your imaginary mate at the whatever the away game.
The bloke in the Fred
Perry
Perry
white hair. It'd be like that portal. It'd be like that portal in Dublin. That's about the closest we'll get. Got that portal between Dublin and New York City. You'll have a portal to all the games.
That's right. Sorry, JK, we interrupted your flow of thought there, but I get your drift. I mean, it's been a funny old season, hasn't it? It really, really has, and I think we're generally surprised to find that we are where we are, and it's very pleasing to see. And I mean, I know it all feels like it's only really been since the second half of the Villa game that it's turned around. But actually, if you look at the form, really, since we lost to Wolves and Liverpool, it's been steadily progressing, and it's very, very pleasing to see. But yesterday reminded me of something far more important than all of that, and it, without the people that you go to the games with week in, week out, it's meaningless. All of this is a complete load of meaningless bollocks. It's absolutely drivel and pointless analysis. What matters is the people that you have the privilege to see at the games before and after. And for me personally, every aspect of that, I like where I sit. I'm very attached to where I sit. It's a fucking superb place to watch football from. And I've sat there for over 20 years now, and I have an emotional attachment to it. But JK messaged me on Friday, said, "Chidge, do you want to come and sit with me on Sunday?" And I did think about it for a bit, because I last match of the season, but I didn't have to think about it too long, because just the prospect of watching the last game of the season with my partner in crime, JK, was too good to miss, and it was an absolute joy watching the football with him. And I mean, it's lovely there because you get fed and you can drink whatever you want. It's just lovely, and people are nice. It's just a very civilized way to watch football. And of course, the view from the East Middle is astonishingly good. So that was an easy.
Which is also they're all the same age as us, so they agree.
Geriatric. Yeah. They are too. It is a bit like being in a care home up there, but in a good way. But yeah, I mean,
what was the pies yesterday? What pies did you have?
I had a cheeky steak and ale pie, which I woofed down before he reappeared. Actually, it was quite funny. But
he went, because you got a bit bored with me taking. I videoed the whole of Thiago Silva's exit.
You did, didn't you? I know.
He left early, went off. I thought for a waz, but no, he went off and clearly had a scoff, and then came back again.
but to be fair, JK, you've been absolutely fantastic. You've invited I think all of us, or most of us, of the FanCast in there this season, and you are an absolutely fantastic host. It's been, thank
you. I love the fact that wonderful. Dean Mears, God, poor old Dean. I had three guests that night because all my chickens had come home to roost. I got one of the guys was ill who I sit with, and he said, "Oh, you can have my ticket. Bring one of your nice friends," he said. So I thought, "Oh, great, do that." I had my own spare, because I share a spare with someone else, which I get every 3 games, and I had the one that I bought from the guy next door to me who's gone off to America. So I had that, which I was getting occasionally. So I had these 3. So poor old Dean I kept saying to him, "I'm sorry, Dean, you're getting a third of me. I do apologize to you, and I'm not giving you my full attention." But it was a lovely evening. But Mark, what was so fantastic when I brought you was the fact you were in the program. So at the time, So I could actually go around, go, look, it's my friend Mark. Look, he's in the program. Look, he's with me today. Look, great, it's great.
And he did, Chidge, he did. He literally went round the whole of the area, sort of like showing the program to everybody.
Well, it's lovely.
This is my friend Mark.
I was saying to somebody yesterday, this sounds so up our own arse. Sorry, people. If you want to switch off, I wouldn't begrudge you at all. But this is somewhat masturbatory on our behalf. But I was saying to somebody in the pub yesterday, because I think I was showing them the team T-shirt, which will be released shortly. I promise you. You can buy it from here. But I said, "Isn't it? We're so I'm blessed. There are 11 of us, including me, who do this show, and we do it. Everybody gets a couple of goes every kind of schedule that I put out. And what amazes me about it is that it really is a team, and we all get on, and yet we're all completely different and indefatigably independent-minded and individualistic. I mean, everybody's very different, but we all gel together as a great team on this show, and it's an absolute fucking privilege. And it's lovely that JK invites most of us, individually to go and watch a game with him as well.
Can I be honest? I actually got the guy next door's ticket in order to bring everybody on, if I could. I seriously.
Really? Did you really?
Yeah.
For fuck's sake, mate. You're a nutter. I love you.
Yeah.
Absolute nutter.
It was an opportunity. I thought, I want to share this with everybody. I really did.
You're so kind. Yeah.
Well, it was. I'd had a good year. I'd been in a decent cartoon.
Been in Panto.
Been in Panto. Yeah, I've been a star in Panto. It would have been great. No, I think I've been.
Oh no, he wasn't. Yeah.
Oh yes, you are.
Oh no, he wasn't.
Anyway, let's put it this way: it's not happening next year because I think the tickets are going to go up. I made a bit of a boo boo at the bloke who set the prices, who involved the prices, was there, and I said, surely if all of these places have been created as hospitality areas and they're not very good seats, our seats in the middle there are fantastic. Surely that means they're going to go up to £1,000 a time. And David, I was with, said, I was obviously exaggerating, £1,000 a seat, but David I was with said, shut the fuck up. He said, he's listening to you. She said, listen, what the fuck are you saying? What are you saying? £1,000? You want £1,000? That'd be 52,000 quid for the year or something with all the seats. And I said, well, they're the best seats in the ground, aren't they? We said they are completely phenomenal, those seats. They're second row. We're watching it. It's the best view. It was when they built the West Stand. It was even further away from the pitch because of the health and safety rules. And that stand was built in 1973, whatever it was. So consequently, we're on top of the ground. It's fantastic. They're great. They're great. He said, but stop giving them the opportunity to fucking sell the seats. I said, well, I don't know. It's unlikely, isn't it? But who knows? But the price is going to go up. So I'm not getting the guy's seat again next year, and I don't blame you. The opportunity may have gone, which to an extent, Mark, is what I thought might happen with the new owners. I thought the second year, at least the third year, these seats will go up because and to tell everybody who thinks, hey, he's a rich bastard, fucking hell, not a rich bastard. I deliberately, when I was in the West Stand, in East Stand Upper, thought I want to sit down there. And 35 years ago. I've got an opportunity to sit down with with Eddie and Gary, who I sit with, and they were 300 quid or something. And there was no meal. Bates hadn't set anything up, no hospitality, it was just a bar. But we were at the back, and slowly every year I've asked, is there a seat available? And I've got down to the front. And every year the money's gone. Well, they've held it back, but last year the money was up. We already had a raise last year, so if they have another raise, it's going to be astronomical, which I expect, given the fact the dugout is shit seats, and yet they created hospitality for that. And given that the West Stand has now got hospitality in the Rose and Ball, whatever it is, the place that used to be the health club, that's hospitality. They're trying to put hospitality in as many places as possible to get as much revenue as possible, as we've established already. It's a question of what very few people talk about hospitality. They normally tend to talk about the prices going up and the rest of the ground. But we are sitting together in that, everybody in there, very few people are hospitality members. They are the same people who've been sitting there for over 35 years and have been to all, normal supporters, like going to away games, home games. It's just that they all wanted to sit in the middle because it was a great seat, and we established that. So we were lucky we got in there then, 35 years ago. But the same people, guys I'm sitting with now, Eddie and Gary, have been there for. I used to go away with them 35 years ago. They're mates. They're just mates, you know. So it's
great.
it's also ridiculous to dismiss people in hospitality.
Oh no, I don't. I mean, those of us who know wouldn't do that.
Some people do. They say, fucking hospitality," but no,
it's a very well. Hospitality is a name the club used, but it's a very broad church, as you and Eddie and Gary are proof. Lovely people, but yeah, thank you, mate, and you're such a sweetheart. I mean, just going back to the main point, it was just a great reminder yesterday of what it's really all about. I mean, the cock beforehand was just rammed. So many people in there that I know and love, all the usual suspects. I actually had a lovely chat with the Leonie Carpenter, who's the presenter at Chelsea TV. She's a sweetheart. Ian Titchener was there with his lovely daughters, Amber and Daisy. Amber, who's she's a musician. We're going to go and see her in the Half Moon in Putney, hopefully in August. And Scott and Andy, who said that I wouldn't remember them, and I did remember them. I mean, just so many people, and the Atlas was brilliant.
I saw the lovely Alan Bird before the game.
I saw you. Yeah, Alan's lovely. He's a lovely chap. So Atlas was great. Saw loads of lovely people there as well. It's just a really good atmosphere. And you know, if you'd have asked me 2 months ago, you know, about the end of the season, I would have said can't come soon enough. But after yesterday and seeing all those lovely people that I won't see for a couple of months, in all honesty, then. You know, I should also mention Daryl and Oscar, who are denizens of the Discord group and this chat facility that we do during the show. It was lovely to see them for a beer afterwards as well. But yeah, I mean, you know, I will miss it. I will miss it for the next couple of months, and I will miss the people in particular. And it was a really wonderful reminder of that yesterday, Mark, wasn't it?
Oh, it was, as I said at the beginning as well. It's also the people that make it, and I've often said on here. The people I grew up with and went to school with in the friendship group, I don't keep in touch, you know, see any of those now. My friendship group is all around Chelsea Football Club. You know, that's everybody who's either stayed friends with me, God bless them, or I just made new friends, all evolved around this football club. You know, there is that real social part of the football club, either before or after games, or sometimes both. And I think it's put in the chat. The other thing about yesterday was 39,758 attendance was our third highest crowd of the season.
Really?
That was another you know important point. That's probably why it was busy as well yesterday. And that's another thing, is we haven't yet hit our full capacity this season, other than one game. And that's, I could spend all night, but I'll save that for another time. So it was a big crowd there yesterday, and people were there, you know, to mix and see their friends and socialise. That's why the pubs were busy. And even if we have 40,000 people that are none of us, and 40,000 of like dugout paying price people, it won't have the same impact, it won't have the same effect, it won't have the same soul, you know, because that's part of it. There's so many social groups that cross over and cross fertilize, you know, because of Chelsea Football Club, and you have to preserve that. That's part of our heritage. That's part of our culture. That's part of our history.
Well, just to carry on the shout out, because I've got a memory like a goldfish, I've just been reminded by the absolute legend that is Russ Saunders, who was over from Australia yesterday. Well,
yeah.
You know, and I gave him 4 Connor T-shirts to take back to the peeps in Australia. He managed to sell he sold a Luca T-shirt to Dan. I knew Dan would buy it. He's given me a badge and stickers, and he's an absolute love. And I said, "Are you still blocked by JK on Twitter?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Nice work." You know, but Russ has just posted. I'll put this up here on the screen so you boys can see it. Look at this. Malaysia Airlines Wi-Fi is a bit hit and miss. Currently 41,000 feet above the Bay of Bengal. He's listening on the way home on the plane.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Absolute legend. And last but by no means least, I think you mentioned it earlier, Mark, but one of my favourite people on the Chelsea beat is Walter Otten, who many of you will know from reading his stuff in CFC UK. But Waltz is without doubt one of life's beautiful people, and I don't get to see him enough. And not only did I make sure that I had a proper chat with him in the pub before, but I luckily caught up with him in the Atlas afterwards. In fact, we ended up going back to Clapham because he was going to back south, and I was going back to Winchester. So I had a lovely chat with him there. And I reminded him the last time this happened that we did this, it was cold. It was in winter, and I'd had a bit to drink. and I was wearing my flat cap, which I love, as people will probably know, because I'm never to be seen without it in the winter. And I remember at West Brompton Station, I suddenly had this freak out. So, where's my hat, Waltz? Where's my hat? Because I felt I couldn't. He said, "Mate, you're wearing it." So I clearly had far too much to drink, but it was great to see. It was great to see Waltz.
Were you battered, Chidge?
Absolutely. Yeah, I wasn't too bad yesterday. Actually, I kind of went.
He wasn't
quite
battered.
well.
He wasn't battered in Aussies.
No,
No, he was fine in the Atlas afterwards as well.
No, I was all right. If I'd have had another couple, I think I might have been on my way. But, you know, it was a long day, but it was great. It was just lovely. To everybody, I can't remember everybody. I can't mention everybody. Otherwise, we'd be here all flaming night, as you well know. But to everybody that I've seen this season and who's had a drink with me and a chat with me at the game, it's just lovely. You are what make going to Chelsea just such a joyous experience in my life. Not the fucking stuff that happens on the pitch. It's before and afterwards, meeting you lot. And people are so lovely coming up saying, "Oh, you're Chidge, aren't you?" And they have a little chat, and it's honestly, we don't deserve it. I mean, you know, we're just a bunch of idiots talking drivel and pointless analysis. But you lot seem to like it, and you're always lovely and come up and say hello. And I just really wanted to say how much I appreciated that before the end of the season. Now, you would have thought that was about it, but you would be wrong, because we have something very important to announce, which, of course, are the Prem Predictions final table. Yes.
JK and I will log off now, will we?
Log off.
Yeah,
I'll be here, but I won't pay any attention. Can I just, before we do that a second, there's one thing that somebody said here, which was the Cozy Jedi, which is a lovely name, that not winning the Europa Conference League would have been an absolute embarrassment. And I don't think that's the case at all. I think it's a very interesting question. I think just taking part would be very good, because it would mean that we could actually attract better players, because we're in Europe. And I think it's a positive. And also just being involved in Europe just boils everybody's piss, because they'd written us all off. What you have to remember is that this season is supposed to have been a disaster, and Chelsea have had it for the rest of their careers. And the very fact that we're in Europe again must be so pissing people off.
I bloody hope so.
Yeah.
Boiling piss since 2004. Right. Yes. Okay. Prem predictions. Drum roll. Right. I'm delighted to announce. I see he was leading last week. He's managed to stay there by the skin of his teeth. But Brendan Mallard. Brendan Mallard is number one. Well done, Brendan. I think. Yeah. Duck off, mate. Anyway, he's. I think he wins some money. I don't know how much money you win, Brendan, but
£1,000 quid. £1,000 quid.
Does he?
Yeah.
Really?
Nice one. Yeah. Jeez. Okay. Well, Jonathan Murray second. Mark Waldridge is third. John Parkinson. John's the lad from up in Morecambe. He's been on the show, if you remember. Julian Spranger is fifth. Jig CFC sixth. Sean O'Sullivan seventh. Steve Hutchins eighth. Steve Mower. We know Steve. He's ninth. And David Bergen. We met him yesterday, I believe, JK. He's 10th. So those are our top 10. The reason I'm reading out the top 10 is because, as I predicted last Friday, the Chelsea FanCast is the winner of the mini league. So every little league, like we've got our own Chelsea FanCast league, so many other people, about another 150 people have their own mini league. Chelsea FanCast have won the mini leagues because it's the person who's in.
So Chelsea.
Go on.
So Chelsea have won something this season.
We have, yeah. They have. We have.
Do we get a trophy?
No, we don't. But what happens is the people who are the top 10 in our league, in the Chelsea FanCast League, they get free entry next season. So the people I've just read out will get free entry next season. Now, as far as the notables are concerned, Dan Silva is the top Fancaster. He's finished in 13th position. He saved our blushes because he finished, one of us at least finished above Chris Sutton, who finished in 17th. Whizzing back down. Kerry Dixon is technically the second Fancaster. He finishes in 25th because I've had a shocker in the last few weeks. I've gone all Spursy. Last few weeks, Chidge has gone Spursy. A month ago, I was hovering around the top 10. I had a shocker this week. I got 34 fucking points, and I've gone down to 29th, which is just horrendous. But Kerry's beaten me, so I shall buy him a buy him a drink to congratulate him on that. Dane Whittle is only just below me. He's 30th. Martin Wickham, 34th. Marco Worrell, 40th. On to page 2. Mark Meehan, 60th. Tony Glover, 73rd. And Jonathan Kydd, finishing in style with minus 21 points this week, is an 103rd. But you are above one, but you are not technically bottom because, as you know, a lot of people give up. And they're the people that, don't have any points in May and have had no points for like ages. There's one person who's still playing who's below you. Luke Garcia has the ignominy of finishing below you, JK. You must try harder next year, JK.
Did I get minus 21 this week?
You did.
How weird. I thought I did really well on a couple of them. Never mind.
So there you go. As always, it's been great fun playing it this year. I mean, if you're not in the league, you should join it. I mean, boys. I mean, Mark, it is fun, isn't it? It's great fun.
Oh, it is fun, and like you, I've gone Spursy. I got as high as 38th at one point. I was even above Mark Worrell, who was an absolute legend and genius at this. And then I sort of fell away. And actually, the worst part is you forget to do it for 1 week, and you forget to do it at your peril. Because you just plummet down the table just by not doing it. Yeah.
I mean, it's like the real thing. I mean, you don't have a bad week, but it's great fun. Well done, everybody who played. Do sign up next year. Look out for my messages and stuff slightly before the season starts. Thanks to Kiro, for getting us involved and inviting us a few years back. And we'll see if we can get a few more. Mark, I task you for this one. Get a few more ex-players involved next year.
Okay. Yeah. I'm tardy enough on my part. I'll start now. I left it far too late last year. Yeah.
I'll see if I can get Cundy involved, maybe Liam and Simon Johnson as well. Get a few people who know their onions because it's great fun. It really is. So well done. Right. We're nearly there. That is it for another season. Goodness me. Now, we will be back during the summer as we, at the very least, owe you an in off the post or two. So if you want your email read out on the show, then let me have them as soon as you can. And the email address is chelseafancast@gmail.com. But we are also planning a season review show, which we want to do live in the Troubadour. Now, the favourite date, as far as I'm concerned, is the 16th of June, Sunday the 16th of June. But we need to talk to the Troubadour. But we'll keep you posted on that because basically, it's impossible to do our live shows as we, as we do them here because there's too many of us. So if we can get most of us into the Troubadour, there's 4 mics there. We can all have a bit of a turn, and it'll be a lot more fun. We can have a proper drink and see a few of you lot as well. I mean, we won't be charging 20 quid. I might not even charge you anything. I've got to work that out with the Troubadour, but we'll try and do that. What?
It's Serbia England that night as well at 8 o'clock.
Perfect build up for the match.
Yeah, watch the game afterwards. Yep.
Have a few sherbets with us and then watch the match.
Yeah.
Like it. So there we go. That's my plan. We need to confirm that, but we'll hope so. Talking of the Troubadour, I will also be publishing a few of the live Troubadour shows that we've done this season. I've deliberately not published them to wait for the summer. So we'll have Kenny Swain and Jock Finiston, Kerry and
Tommy Langley.
I think Mickey Thomas, Johnny Boyle. There's quite a few we haven't put up yet. So watch out for those. Now, if we get time, us 3 will be back in force because we'll try and do a few of the. We got to pick up from where we left off in the 50 years shows, time dependent. Plus, we hope to cover the US tour with some special friends helping us out. So we'll in short, we're not going anywhere at all this summer, really. Or as Emma Hayes so eloquently put it, it's not fucking over. All right. So there you go. Now, on that point, to get the best discount off your Nord, what a segue that was. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/Chelsea Fancast. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and you'll help support the Chelsea Fancast. Yeah, they sponsor us, or they have been this season. They've been great. So thank you to NordVPN. You can follow the show on all the social media at Chelsea Fancast, at Stamford Chidge. Jonathan's at Jonathan Kydd, and Mark is at Eddie Mac BAWA. Now, a massive thank you and shout out to all of the regular team of Fancasters: Alex Churchill, Tony Glover, Dane Whittle, Dean Mears, Martin Wickham, Marco Worrell, Clayton Beerman, Dan Silva, Mark Meehan, of course, and the legend, the real star of the show, as everybody knows, Mr. Jonathan Kydd. So there we go.
Oh, Jim.
Yeah, it's all true.
You spoiled me.
Now, breaking news, there will be a T-shirt featuring the whole of that FanCast team coming out very, very soon. I'm going to get on the case with Tim, and hopefully we'll sort that out over the summer. However, the biggest thanks, of course, goes out to all of you who've listened to the podcast, watched the shows and the fan bites, who've emailed the show, chatted on Discord, Mixler, and the YouTube and Facebook chat rooms, bunged us a few quid each month in Patreon, come and said hello at home and away matches, and dare I say it, bought me a Guinness or two in the cock. You are all absolute legends, and without you, this little show would be a heap of rubbish and quite simply not worth doing. So there we go. You've been fantastic. Pat yourselves on the back. And as far as this season's concerned, it's been emotional. So there we go. Mark, you've got your hand up like a naughty schoolboy.
My mother brought me up well as a good Catholic boy to always put your hand up if you wanted to make a point. It's on that last point. I think it's quite useful to flag in case people haven't had the opportunity. We haven't really done much trust business tonight as well, because there's a lot to talk about in the season. If people haven't had the opportunity to watch the video that the Chelsea Foundation put together involving Vinnie Jones in their campaign about talking more than football, please do. Chidge and other members of the Supporters Trust last week were very fortunate to be invited by the foundation to do an active listening skills session at Stamford Bridge. It would have been interesting if we'd had you there, JK, because we did some role play about listening. I'm
glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, not me.
Said, can you? I think we said, can you imagine if we were doing this with JK?
But I listen very well, but then interrupt a lot.
And it's more the interruption rather than the listening. You got the listening skills, but it's more the interruption. So he said it might be a very long interview because we did role play and we had to interview each other as part of the active listening skills. Oh, and we said if you'd been tasked with interviewing JK, it might have taken a longer interview than others because you'd have probably interrupted us. But on a serious note, obviously the Samaritans do really good work. They're working in partnership with Chelsea Football Club through the foundation. Then thanks to Chelsea yesterday, they allowed us to use the club facilities for our Over the Line campaign that works with West London Mind. So again, it is a serious subject. I've got the badge on now, if I can find it. Talk more than football. If you've not seen Vinny's video, do take the time and trouble and 5 minutes to watch it. As Chidge said, it has been emotional. On one final note as well, if anyone is in the vicinity of Dorking Wanderers FC on Sunday, it was absolutely fantastic for those of you who are watching Saturday afternoon to see Emma Hayes and the Chelsea women's team win the title for the 5th year in succession. Well, if you know, obviously, your Chelsea history, the Chelsea women's team was sort of founded 30 years ago by a gentleman called Tony Farmer. Now, Tony approached Ken Bates 30 years ago and basically said he wanted to set up a women's team for Chelsea because we were only one of 3 clubs in London that amazingly didn't have a women's team. And Tony's ambition very much was obviously to grow the women's team, into sort of like something to be recognised all across the sort of football world. My first contact with Tony, I met him very early on, and he wanted to be self-sufficient. And this is an amazing thing. The budget for the Chelsea women's team in 1993 was £6,000. And at that time, the generated income of the Chelsea women's team, Tony, was £4,000. So I got the Chelsea Independent Supporters Association. We had a board meeting, and our board meetings usually involved going down the Warrington pub in Maida Vale, and after a few pints, we made the decision about the things we want to support as the right things in terms of community activities. So we used to play 5-a-side football on a Thursday night under the Westway, and then go down. And we thought it'd be a really good thing to support Tony and the Chelsea women's team. Delighted, it grew and grew and grew from playing in Motspur Park to nobody watching, to 10 to 50 to 150 people coming along to watch. And then it grew further. They moved through the football pyramid. They got their first proper sponsor through a company called Freeman Forster. If you look in the Chelsea Museum, the original sponsorship shirt is there. Through an absolutely brilliant Chelsea fan called Ashley Rolfe with his business partners, April Freeman and Michelle Forster. And then you fast forward to the summer of 2013, Emma Hayes arrives. And obviously, as we saw on Saturday, the rest is history. She's now moving on to pastures near. but left a tremendous legacy, and obviously he's on the Shed Legends wall. Now, why I mention all this is on Sunday afternoon, Tony is reuniting that original Chelsea women's side from 30 years ago, both the original team and some of the academy players, to play a game for grassroots girls football. So it's a charity fundraiser, and from the Supporters Trust, we've taken the decision that we are sponsoring the game, and we'd love it if people could come down, lend their support to Tony and the original Chelsea women's team. Because the original ambition of Tony was he wanted to show that women could play football and be just as good as men. I think Emma Hayes showed on Saturday with 5 titles in a row and the legacies left behind, how good the women's game has grown and how successful Chelsea women's team have been since being founded 30 years ago. And why I mentioned the Westway, obviously it's where it started, and Chidge all like this, Chelsea women's team from Westway to the world.
Oh, I like it. Clash reference.
Clash. Yeah. I knew you'd like that Clash reference. See?
Yeah,
that was there just for you. But again, if you can, get along, lend your support and raise some money for charity.
Yeah, I used to work just by the Westway in Kensal Town. Yeah, for about 4 years. So I know that.
The five-a-side pictures under the Westway were absolutely fantastic. But as I said, it's probably just an excuse to go drinking afterwards as well.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
any fitness benefits were soon sort of like knocked into touch 3 or 4 pints later.
Indeed, they were. Well done, Mark. Very much, as always, on message. He's always on message. Right, we really are done, I'm afraid. That's enough from us for this season. Some of you are cheering already, I can tell. Have a great break, people. I haven't said goodbye to the boys. Mark, I mean, it's lovely to see you on the show, as always. We might have a one-off special show coming up soon, mightn't we? We can't really say too much about it yet, but it'll be rather a humdinger, I feel.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
He was being wonderfully discreet. There we go. Well done.
Can
Always on method.
Well, can I be discreet?
No, you can't. You're not allowed to say anything. Well, you can be discreet. Can you be discreet?
Got a discreet eyebrow. Oh.
Yeah. Oh. It'll be not one to miss if we can pull it off. All right. But Mark, it's great.
I don't even know what it is.
I did tell you yesterday.
I know, I've forgotten already. Yeah.
That's why I love you. Mark, brilliant. Lovely to see you, mate. Hopefully I'll catch up with you for a beer or two soon. JK, mate, you're the only person stupid enough, daft enough to sit here with me on every show. You are bordering on the criminally insane. You deserve a medal, mate. I don't know. So, but thank you. It's been just such a joy sitting here with you every couple of times a week. I've really enjoyed it. You brighten up my otherwise mad life, I have to say. Well done, you. I'll see you at the cricket.
Thank you. Yes, see the cricket. Yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got tickets to Lords on the Friday the 12th. So
good.
Make sure you're
there.
Yeah. I'll be with the boys, obviously. Yeah. To say farewell to Jimmy Anderson. So I look forward to seeing you then.
Definitely. June the 12th. Yes, because we've had May already.
July the 12th. So I'll see you before, I'll see you before then, because we're going to hopefully have a show on the 16th. But there we go.
In Sri Lanka, aren't we, before that? Yeah.
Anyway, have a good one, everybody. Have a good break. Summer well. And thank you for listening and watching. We will see you all very soon. Until then, keep it blue, keep it carefree, and keep it Chelsea.
Up the Chelsea! You blue boys, yeah.